Hey, good evening, folks. So I had asked for some questions for the old YouTube channel, and you guys sent me a bunch of stuff to go over. So the first thing I want to go over was a question, not really so much a question, but it was a statement from an old friend of mine from college, my good buddy Diego. So this one's for you, buddy. So his question slash statement was, how about how a Colombian, a Croatian, an Indian, white, black, gay, straight, and everything in between were able to be friends in college without yelling to each other about MAGA or other dumb shit. Just respect for one another. So we got to go back in time a little bit, folks. Not always the oldest guy in the room, but I got a few years on me now, as Toby Keith would say. So went to Rutgers, me and my friends. Actually, that's where I met my wife, was at Rutgers. Let's see, I graduated high school in 2000. We were there from 2000 to 2004. So first off, as far as MAGA bullshit, it didn't exist back then. Yes, folks, there was a time before the dreaded MAGA hat. At that time, in say 2000, between 2000 and 2004, Trump did try to run for president, but basically people thought he was like trying to bring up sales for his books. He did. I mean, he did marginally well in California. At the time, he was a progressive, or not a progressive. He was a Reform Party ticket, but that kind of died out. And then he went and did his show, The Apprentice. But as far as our collection of friends, so if you go to Rutgers Newark, there's the Paul Robeson Student Center. We spent many a great day, great time there. So if you go to Paul Robeson Center, you enter the building from the plaza. To the right's the student cafeteria, and we always had this table kind of just in the back, and we were just a jolly bunch of assholes. But I think the reason why, and we always joked about how we were like the coalition, because my buddy Diego's Colombian, my friend D is Croatian, my buddy Mark's Indian, me, I'm the token white guy. I always thought like one of the things that was cool about our group. Because when you looked around the campus, when you looked around the campus center, especially the student cafeterias, big cafeteria, one of the things that always struck me was, first off, if you go to Rutgers, I don't know if they still hold the record, but at the time, it was the most culturally diverse campus in the universe. And every time you went to a goddamn assembly, and don't get me wrong, I love cultural diversity. I absolutely do. But cultural diversity, cultural diffusion, I love it. But at every assembly, and I was part of the student government, so at every assembly, some professor, some administrator is like, nah, 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 nah. Yeah, I know. And they had banners all over the school. It's like, yeah, we know. But what was interesting was, if you looked around the student campus, even though it was a very diverse campus, you notice that ethnicities tend to cling together, which is a very human aspect. We look for comfort. This is why when people immigrate to this country, my mother's from Kearney, New Jersey. Kearney, New Jersey, at one point in time, had more Irish people living there than in Dublin, which is the capital of Ireland. So, people look for comfort. This is why when you travel the country, you find like little Italies or Chinatowns, or there's even Japanese towns. I found out there was 3 of them. Pretty interesting story, but that's a story for another day. But people look for comfort. People who are like-minded. What I always thought was interesting about our group is that yes, we were a very diverse group of people. We all kind of came from the same socioeconomic background, which I think is what really helped us, kind of be a cohesive unit. Now, that being said, he did say we never yelled. It might be looking through rose-colored glasses. I remember a few heated arguments, but one of the things that made our group, our clique, whatever. First off, you want to come and hang out with us, that table grew at any point in time. I think at one point we even had a hijack 2 table, so we got about like 16 people. And we would hold court. And I think what made it such a cohesive unit, a cohesive clique, was the fact that, we were welcoming, but also we engaged in conversation. Right now, there's a big movement on canceling conservatives in social media. My default answer for that right now is going to be Facebook, YouTube, all those things are private companies. So they're allowed to do what they want as far as enforcing the rules. I myself got banned on Twitter. I got a 7-day timeout. Full disclosure, I called the president a cunt. Well, he was being cunty, but that's my go-to word when I want to let you know where you stand. Although I do use the word fuck a lot in all its various incantations. But so I got a timeout for that. Can't really complain because that violated the terms, conditions, and their usage policy. So I get it. So as much as, I'm like, God damn, right? Not, and this was right when the whole Capitol thing happened. But you can't silence people you don't agree with. You got to engage in conversations. Are there extreme versions? People advocating death. Dude, go read some of that stuff on Parler or some things that some people have been posting elsewhere. I mean, this isn't like, I support abortion, and then somebody chimes in, well, fuck you, it's a life. No. The stuff they were advocating. One dude, I read some stuff this morning. He was like, well, how do you fix liberals? You round up the women and children and kill them in front of the men. What the fuck are you talking about? But that wasn't our group. We would have conversations. We would discuss ideas, kind of bounce stuff off one another. And sometimes, you might have walked in with a preconceived notion, but after sitting down and looking at it from somebody else's perspective, this is why, when people get caught in an echo chamber, it's very dangerous, because every now and again, you got to have somebody look at a topic from a little bit of a different perspective. It may be over something over racism. And somebody did ask me, a former student, Dana, I didn't forget about you. I'm going to do that video on racism. But it might be a white-black thing. As a white heterosexual male, I might view something one way, whereas a woman of color might view it differently, or vice versa. It all depends. But our group was a very loving group. A lot of us still stay in contact. And I sometimes find myself thinking of that quote from The Office, the season finale, when Andy Bernard said, I wish I knew I was in the good old days before I left them. And I think back at my days at Rutgers and my RU family I always have a smile on my face when I think about some of the stupid shit we did, some of the funny stuff we did, and just some of the great relationships that I've made over the years. And I'm going to leave it at that, because as you can see, I'm smiling, and always leave them smiling and wanting more. So I'll catch you guys down the road.